Happy Tuesday morning to you. Welcome into Morning JOX. JOX 94.5, Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you on another slightly chilly morning here in the Magic City. Appreciate you tuning in to us here this morning as we have plenty to get into from over the night. A very impressive performance by the Atlanta Braves last night at the expense of one of our teams, unfortunately. You had some... maybe two of the most exciting games of the entire NBA postseason so far last night. Probably the best night of the NBA playoffs so far with the two games that you had taking place last night. We also have a very interesting 2026 mock draft from Todd McShay that has particularly some Alabama players on there that I was surprised. I will just say that. So I want to take some time to dive into that as well, but something we're definitely going to do on the show today, and we'll go ahead and throw it out there if you want to chime in, 205-834-9450. We'll talk about it a little bit later in the show, but, you know, me and Damian were talking yesterday, and we were trying to come up with some ideas of, you know, what are some things that we can do, you know, leading into the college football season to, you know, I guess instead of just constantly trying to look ahead and talk about expectations and what's the win-loss record for this team going to be, it's how can we look back on some of these teams and just kind of, you know, enjoy the SEC for what it is and all the great football that we've had here over its history. And so we decided, what if we do a Mount Rushmore for every college football program in the SEC? So that's what we're going to do here moving forward. We're going to try to do a different one every single day for you here on Morning JOX. And we're going to start off today with Auburn. We're going to start off with Auburn. So the question is simple. You have 4 players, Auburn football history. Who are your Mount Rushmore of Auburn football players? You can go back as far as you want. If you want to do more modern only, you're welcome to do that as well. But we're going to give you hours later, we'll give you our Mount Rushmore, our 4, I guess, the greatest Auburn football players of all time in our opinions. We want to hear that from you as well, 205-834-9450, if you want to start sending those in, because we will get to those here a little bit later in the show this morning. But we will go ahead. We'll start off recapping a little bit of what you may have missed last night. And we will, of course, start off on the diamond in the world of Major League Baseball, where you had the Atlanta Braves taking on the Cincinnati Reds. You could hear the game right here on JOX 94.5. And unfortunately for Damian, it was not the best night for his Cincinnati Reds, but it was one of the best nights that A.J. Smith-Shawver has probably ever had on a baseball field, at least at the professional level, as he was absolutely electric last night. He had a no-hitter going into the 8th inning for the Atlanta Braves. He goes 8 innings, gives up 1 hit, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, 99 pitches total there for Smith-Shawver. Just an absolute clinic there for the Atlanta Braves last night as they get the 4-0 win there over the Cincinnati Reds. You had Alex Verdugo, all the damage there done in the 3rd inning, actually, for the Braves, but started off Verdugo with an RBI double. Then Austin Riley, he carries over the hot bat from a couple of nights ago against the Dodgers, where he had a pair of home runs. He has an RBI single there after Verdugo, and then Matt Olson comes up, homers, and knocks in Riley to give Atlanta 4 runs there in the 3rd, and that's all she wrote, Damian. That was all that they needed last night. So one of the better games, I think, all around, if you're a Braves fan. Really hard to find any complaints from what you saw last night. But, I mean, shout out to Verdugo as well, man. He goes 2 for 3 last night. He's now hitting .322 for the Braves since being called up a handful of weeks ago, and a guy that had a pretty poor season last year. And to see him be able to turn around like this, he's been a big part of Atlanta starting to turn things around. But, I mean, you look now, I mean, Austin Riley's over 290. Azuna's hitting almost 280. Matt Olson's slowly creeping up there. He's at 225 now. So, you know, these bats are starting to heat up for the Braves, but the pitching is going to be big for them as well, especially if they're going to keep having to contend with injuries to guys like Spencer Strider. But this was a good one. Smith-Shawver with the gym last night. So sorry, Damian. Maybe better luck today.
It's all good. It's all good. We kind of swept that one under the rug. But, I mean, there were a lot of Reds fans that were frustrated after Matt Olson continued around the bases after Tyler Callahan, you know, arm exploded into the wall. But to me, I'm like, hey, man, the ball's still in play. The ball's still live. I know he's hurt. I mean, if you're a center fielder, you just got to hustle over and just, hey, man, the game's still going on. We'll attend to him once we get the ball back into the infield. But everybody, some of the baseball peers like, oh man, Matt Olson should have, given up a base. You should have slowed down. It's like,
No,
no, no, because that'd have
well,
been the
no,
other way
that's like all
around.
right, when you hit a rocket back at the pitcher, do you
Yeah,
just automatically walk to the dugout and go, all right, I'm out? Like I heard him, my bad. It's like, no, if the ball's
it's part of the game, man.
go to first base. Like
It's part of the game.
he didn't try to hurt anybody. Like
Right. And I will give Matt Olson credit. He slowed it down, but he still got he still got touched all 4 bases. Like, I'm not going to be sorry for that, because if it was Ellie De La Cruz on the other side, he would have been sprinting all 4 of them. He would have been hustling, sliding into home plate. But no, like the Braves, they went out there, they showed up. I mean, we couldn't put the bat on the ball. And that just it's no other way to explain it. We had, 1 hit. So it kind of goes like that. But, it's today's a new day. Now we're at 500, and it's kind of it's early on in the season, but we need to take this, what happened yesterday, flush it down the drain, move forward. Today's a new day. Let's go out here and let's try to get a win. Let's just try to get a win.
that's all you can do, my friend. That's all you can do. So after last night's game, just a quick update for you on the standings. Atlanta now has sole possession of 3rd place there in the National League East. They are 6 games behind the Mets. They have a half-game lead there over the Nationals for the 3rd spot. They're 16-18 overall. Cincinnati falls to 18-18 overall. They are in 3rd place there in the Central. They are tied with the Brewers, 4 games back of the Chicago Cubs. And tonight you are going to have same first pitch as last night, if I'm not mistaken, 6:15. So you're going to get that pregame show here at 6 o'clock following the Paul Feinbaum show. So no need for you to touch your dial today. Literally the entire day. You're going to have Morning JOX, McElroy and Kublik in the morning, 3-man front, Paul Feinbaum, and all that rolling right into your Atlanta Braves versus Cincinnati Reds coverage here on JOX 94.5. So we've got you covered all day long. Quickly, just a couple of other scores from last night. My Yankees absolutely collapsed again. Their 5th loss this season when having a lead in the 8th inning or later, as the Padres score 4 in the 8th inning to take down the Yankees 4-3. And make me very, very sad last night. The Cubs knocked off the Giants 9-2. You had the Cardinals beating the Pirates 6-3. Mets over the Diamondbacks 5-4. Athletics, man, the A's 7-6 win over the Mariners there. They are 1 game back of the Mariners for the division lead as it stands right now in Major League Baseball, which is just, that's wild. They don't even have, they're just the Athletics now. They don't have a home name anymore. They're not Oakland. They are straight up just the Athletics because they do not have a home right now. Well, they do. It's Sacramento, but it's not a permanent home. So that's just a little bit of a look at your Major League Baseball leaderboard there. Again, you're going to get Braves Reds tonight, 6:15 here on JOX 94.5. All right, quickly, want to go to the NBA really quick because, again, I know a lot of you probably missed this last night, but seriously, definitely 2 of the best games of the NBA postseason. I don't know if I'm going to say the 2 best, but you could probably make that argument. So we'll start with the late game last night. You had Denver taking on Oklahoma City in the Western Conference semifinals. And remember, this is a Denver Nuggets team or a franchise that fired their head coach and their general manager with 3 games left in the regular season, looking to shake things up going into the postseason. We all thought, oh man, all right, this, sets up pretty well for a first round exit, right? The Clippers took them to 7 games, but ultimately Denver able to prevail in that series. So now they take on the number 1 seed and the best team in the NBA all year long in the Oklahoma City Thunder. And you got a little bit of magic late in this game from one Aaron Gordon. This is the way that it sounded last night. We're getting there. Computer troubles early in the morning. It's all right. Are we ready? So that's the way that sounded last night for you on TNT as Aaron Gordon hit a 3 with about 4 seconds left there to put the Nuggets up and ultimately, basically just force a half-court shot, whatever, from the Thunder. That doesn't fall through, so Denver walks away with a win in Game 1. 121 to 119. Jokic, what can you say about this guy that hasn't already been said before? Jokic goes for 42 points, 22 rebounds, and 6 assists. 42 points and 22 rebounds.
It's just what he does, man. Like, and the crazy thing is about Jokic, he doesn't look like the most athletic player. He's won 3 MVPs. He's like the most underrated player of all time. I mean, he probably has an argument like by the time he's done to be a top 10 player of all time, but nobody's going to put him in there. And he could even care less. Like he's out there, yeah, this is what I do. I just go out here play a little basketball. He prefers to be back home playing with his horses. Like he looks at basketball as strictly a job. Like, okay, I got to clock in, do what I need to do, and go home.
Yeah, he's probably pissed he didn't get to go to the Kentucky Derby because he had to travel for the playoffs.
Right, he could care less. But he goes out here and just puts up ungodly numbers. And when you watch the Nuggets play, he plays at his pace. Nobody speeds him up. Nobody slows him down. He looks just uninterested in being on the court. And yet he goes out here and gives you 42 and 24. Like to me, the Denver Nuggets, when you fire your coach with 3 games left in the season, it's essentially just a mail-in that, whatever happens, cool. But when you have arguably the best player playing basketball right now on your roster, if you're the interim coach, it's okay. We'll see how far this thing goes. And now they're up 1-0 against the number 1 seed, the best team in the NBA this regular season, in the OKC Thunder. And if you're the Thunder, that's a gut punch. We did not expect this one to happen. And they were up 16 at one point, and Denver just kept clawing back. And I think one of the X factors that Denver has, and people say, coming off the bench, you need a spark. Having Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, and we know how, in his prime, I mean, he's arguably one of the most athletic players to ever play basketball. But when you look at the plays that he makes, like he's hustling after offensive rebounds.
When he plays smart basketball, he is still a valuable asset.
And the energy just never stops. It's how are we this late into the game and he's, sacrificing his body. Even in the last few seconds of the game, he puts up a 3 that's like, okay, well, you're not at OKC Russell Westbrook anymore. But then the pass to Aaron Gordon was set up by him. And he gives the assist. And it's okay, like you said, when he plays smart basketball and under control, he's still one of the more dominating factors in a basketball game. If you got him on the court for you, you got some highs, you got some lows. But when he booms, he absolutely booms.
Yeah, you are not kidding about that, and that's why, and I mean the fact that he's accepted that role now and he understands that, hey, essentially, you never know what you're going to get from me. It's either going to be incredible in the sense that it's going to be incredibly impressive, or it's going to be like, oh my God, how did that just happen? Why are you playing basketball still? And there's really no in between with Russell Westbrook. I actually I heard somebody yesterday say that Jalen Milroe was the Russell Westbrook of college football last year. And I was like, it hurts me to hear that, but it makes sense. It's honestly not a terrible comparison there. But yeah, he has 18. Aaron Gordon with who had the big 3 there with a couple seconds left. He had 22 and 14. So big win there for the Denver Nuggets. And then in the early game last night, we had another upset as you had game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals with the Knicks and the Celtics. And the Knicks pull away with a 108 to 105 win here in this game last night. And a lot of it came down to Jalen Brunson hitting some crazy big threes late in that basketball game yesterday. He finishes with 29. You have OG Anunoby, who has 29 as well. He was really, really huge. He goes 6 of 11 from 3. Jalen Brunson goes 5 of 9 from 3 last night. So yeah, I'd say 11 of 20 combined from those two guys. That'll certainly play for you, especially when you look at what Boston did on the other side. The Celtics shot 60 3-pointers last night. They hit 15 of them. That's going to cause you some problems there in the postseason. But yeah, Jason Tatum, he has 23. Jaylen Brown has 23. But Jaylen Brown goes 1 of 10 from 3-point range. Derek White goes 5 of 16. Jason Tatum's 4 of 15. It was just, they were jacking them up and they weren't falling down last night for the Celtics. So an impressive win there for the Knicks, as both the Nuggets and the Knicks still a game here in game 1 of the Western and Eastern Conference semifinals respectively. So game 2 coming up in a couple of days there in those series. But again, best night of the NBA postseason so far. We'll see if tonight can top it because you do have two games coming up tonight at 6 o'clock. You're going to have the Pacers and Cavaliers in game 2 of the other Eastern Conference semifinals. Pacers have a 1-0 lead there. And then you're going to have the Warriors and Timberwolves in game 1 of their series tonight at 8:30. So some good NBA postseason action coming your way tonight as well. All right, we said at the beginning we were going to get to our Auburn Mount Rushmores. We see one of you already sending in some of your suggestions here. So when we get back, me and Damian, we will share ours. We will talk about our Mount Rushmores. I know we already have somebody texting in saying we need more time if we're going to come up with some of our Mount Rushmores for these teams. And so we're going to give you every day at the end of this show. I'll go ahead and tell you we're going to do Alabama tomorrow. We're starting off Auburn, and then we'll do Alabama tomorrow. But we'll give y'all some heads up because I know we can all probably do an Auburn, Mount Rushmore, and Alabama, maybe, a Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, right? But yeah, okay, we'll be fair. A Vanderbilt Mount Rushmore might take you a little more time to come up.
Got to dig deep.
A little bit more. I will have E. Robinson on mine. I'll just go ahead and let you know. But we'll go ahead. We'll give you some heads up there. But when we come back, we will do our Auburn Mount Rushmore, the 4 greatest football players in Auburn football history, according to me, according to Damian, and then according to you. 205-834-9450 if you want to chime in. You're listening to Morning JOX. 620, welcome back in. Morning Jocks here. Conrad and Damian with you on your Tuesday morning here in the Magic City. McElroy and Kublik in the morning coming up at 7 o'clock. Then we're going to have three-man front from 10 to 2. We're going to be out at Social Taco today. Hope you can come by, say hello. Enjoy some lunch with us there today. Some chicken feathers, some $1 cervezas. And then, of course, the GOAT, Paul Feinbaum, he'll be with you from 2 to 6 here. And then, of course, the Braves pregame show will start right after Paul today. So, talk before the break. We're going to start doing our Mount Rushmores for all the teams here in the SEC. We're going to start off with Auburn today. We're going to do Alabama tomorrow, so you can go ahead and start thinking if you want to put together your list and share that with us tomorrow. Some of you have already chimed in on the text line. So, again, 205-834-9450. Let us know what your Mount Rushmore of Auburn players is, or maybe you just have one or two that you think are the best and there's no other competition for them. We'd like to hear that as well. So I will start for us, and I'm going to be completely honest. I think there's going to be a lot of overlap in a lot of people's lists. Now, I hope some people surprise me, but I think it's pretty easy for Auburn. The first one, it has to be Bo. Bo has to be number one.
Yes, sir.
I don't think there's any question about that. Arguably the greatest college running back of all time. At number two, for me, it would be Cam Newton. I know he was only there for 1 year, but he won a national championship. He won a Heisman Trophy. In my opinion, he had probably the single most impressive season of college football by one single player that I've ever seen. So Cam Newton, he's up there.
Get that hate out your heart.
Force a habit. And then after that, I would go Pat Sullivan, the first Heisman winner, of course, a legend there. What he did at the quarterback position back in the 70s for the Auburn Tigers. Pat Sullivan has to be a shoo-in. And so I think those three are going to be on essentially everybody's list. Now, I think where you go with the fourth one, maybe there's going to be a little wiggle room there. I tried to include a defensive player, but the ones that came to mind for me, honestly, were, and this is nothing against them, they're great players, but like a Carlos Dansby, a Nick Fairley, those kinds of, and those are great players. But I don't know if there's a Mount Rushmore players. And so I went back to the offensive side of the ball, and you have to go running back, and it's Cadillac Williams. So that was my Mount Rushmore of Auburn players. So Bo Jackson, Cam Newton, Pat Sullivan, and Cadillac Williams. I know it's only on the offensive side of the ball. I know there's no offensive linemen, so Cole would be upset about that. But I feel pretty good about that. That's my Mount Rushmore of Auburn Tigers, Damian. So which way are you going with your list today? How much overlap do we have?
We have the exact same.
Oh, okay.
We have the exact same. I automatically put the three Heisman Trophy winners and Pat Sullivan, Bo Jackson, Cam Newton, and also went Cadillac Williams. Like, for a period of time outside of Reggie Bush, Cadillac Williams was my favorite football player. As many people know, that I grew up an Auburn fan, and I still have a picture back in the day with Cadillac Williams, and I was like 6 years old. And I remember the first game he coached for Auburn against Texas A&M, and Cole had the interview for him. It was like a full circle moment. I was just sitting there like, oh my gosh, like, the man of Auburn is now, the interim head coach. And, whether it was interim or if he was a full-time head coach, it didn't really matter. It was just one of those, oh my gosh, like this is really happened. I've reached a point of my age where I can say, oh, I remember him playing at Auburn, and now he's, the head coach. But I do think that the three Heisman Trophy winners and Bo is self-explanatory. He was the best athlete to really grace the planet, and he so happened to play at Auburn. I still think Cam Newton is the best college football player I've ever seen with my own two eyes. And just everything. I know it was just 1 year at Auburn, but you can't deny what he did on the field for the Auburn Tigers. Pat Sullivan, of course, the history of being the first ever Heisman Trophy winner there at Auburn, all the success that he had, and again, Cadillac Williams, he was my dude. And I mean, you can argue Ronnie Brown, and they both went top five, in their respect in the draft together. But those would be my Mount Rushmore as well, same as yours.
All right. So, refresh. If you're just now joining us here on Morning Jocks, every day here moving forward, we are going to do, or at least for the next 16 days, we are going to do our Mount Rushmore of SEC college football programs. Today we're doing Auburn. Me and Damian agreed we have the same Mount Rushmore: Bo Jackson, Cam Newton, Pat Sullivan, and Cadillac Williams. So 3 Heisman Trophy winners, and then another great running back, top 5 pick in the NFL draft there in Cadillac Williams. So now we hear from you, 205-834-9450. A bunch of you already chiming in with your lists. So we will try to get through all of these here today. We have somebody who chimes in They say their Mount Rushmore for Auburn players: Pat Sullivan, Bo Jackson, Andre Bruce, and Cam Newton. Okay, Andre Bruce. I'm sure that's not going to be the only one. You're not going to be the only one that throws him in there. Nick, he chimes in from Madison. He says Bo Jackson, Cam Newton, Pat Sullivan, the Heisman winners, and then Takeo Spikes. Okay.
He's most intimidating. He's by far the most intimidating.
Auburn player I would least like to fight, probably him. Yeah, he would certainly be high up there on that list. All right, we have another one from Lewis. He has the same list: Pat, Bo, Cam, and Takeo. All right, that's a good one. Let's see, someone chiming in here. They say Carlos Dansby, Bo Jackson, Jason Campbell, and Cam Newton. Okay, some love for Jason Campbell.
Okay, he should have been a national champion.
Should have been
a national champion.
Okay, so would you agree that besides Cam and Pat, that's the next?
Oh yeah,
I guess in terms of Auburn quarterbacks all time,
and Bo Nix.
Do you want to put him on your Mount Rushmore?
No, I'm good.
If we counted his Oregon stats, he'd be in the conversation. He would certainly be in the conversation. All right, let's see. Someone chimes in here. They say Cam, best quarterback to come through, won the Heisman and is a national champion. He says Bo Jackson, best running back to ever come through Auburn and won the Heisman Trophy. He says Nick Fairley, best D lineman. Nick Fairley, another excellent choice. And then how about this, though? He puts Daniel Carlson, the best kicker in Auburn history, on his Mount Rushmore. What do you think about that? Special teams is important, man.
It is.
Is Daniel Carlson the all-time leading scorer in Auburn history?
I think so. But, when I don't want to beat up on kickers for real, but it's just when I think of, teams and team success, I know you can't discredit what they do, but it's deeper down the list before I get to a kicker.
Hey, he scored 413 points in his career.
That's what I'm talking about. Congratulations.
That's a lot of points he put up on the board for the Tigers.
Yeah, absolutely. But I would like to see him in, let's say, Cadillac Williams in a foot race. I like to see him.
I like to see him and Cadillac try to kick 50-yard field goals.
That is
how you think,
right? Hey, so I ain't gonna knock him. It's just, when I think of just the four best, it gets pretty deep down the list before a kicker shows up.
No, I just respect. I respect that person for being bold enough to put a specialist on the list. Because certainly, yeah. When you look at it from the standpoint that he is the all-time leading scorer in program history, right. I totally understand that. He was a great kicker.
Resume speaks for itself.
Absolutely. All right, Mike, he chimes in. He says Bo, Cadillac, Cam, and Trey Mason is his fourth.
He was a dog now.
Trey Mason was good.
He was a dog. He was a little off his rocker once he got a little older. But you want to talk about somebody in the spread system that didn't mind toting that thing 30 times? He was your dude.
I am still looking for Nick Marshall. Haven't seen him yet, but we'll see if that one comes a little bit later. Let's see. Someone chimes in. They say they know that they were a big Alabama fan, but these are their four players for Auburn. They go Bo Jackson, Carlos Dansby, Rudy Johnson, and Stephen Davis. All four were fun to watch in the pros too, so that was part of his consideration. Yeah.
He liked the power. He liked that old school.
Let's see. We have Big John. He chimes in. He says Bo, Cam, Pat Sullivan, Cadillac, and then he changed his mind. He says actually take off Cadillac and add in Tracy Rocker, who that's a good one. He was the I didn't know this until doing a little research last night. Actually, Tracy Rocker was the first SEC player to win both the Lombardi and Outland Trophy in the same year. That's pretty good.
Oh, dog.
Pretty good. Yeah, he was an All-American twice as well. So yeah, that's Tracy Rocker is definitely a good one there, Big John. Let's see, somebody else adding in Bo Jackson, Pat Sullivan, Cam Newton, Takeo Spike. A lot of love for him. A lot of love for Spikes.
Because they probably feel like he's going to hear him and go tackle him in their sleep.
Oh yeah, no, they don't want him to show up at their front door in the middle of the night. Yeah, no, hey, can I change mine? I'm going to put Takeo on mine. Actually, he can just be all four. I don't want to mess with that. Joseph chimes in. He says, mine for Auburn would be Cam Newton, Bo Jackson, Pat Sullivan, and Cadillac, but I would give honorable mentions to Takeo Spikes and Derek Brown. Derek Brown, another very good one. Another very good one from a couple years back. Let's see. Mike from Hayden. He goes Bo, Pat Sullivan, Cam, and Terry Beasley would be
Okay.
his number 4. All right, all right. I don't. Someone's sending a YouTube link. I'm very scared to click and see what that is. Maybe later. Let's see. Somebody else chimes in. They say, yeah, got to go with all 3 Heisman winners. But how about Terry Beasley? Some more love there for Terry Beasley from the Auburn fan base. An excellent selection, of course. And see, that's the other thing is from the wide receiver position, do you look at
You're limited.
This is just kind you are. This is kind of a sidebar conversation, but I guess if we were to say any player on the Auburn roster right now that you would see potentially entering this conversation, it would probably be Cam Coleman, right?
Yeah.
In terms of a Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. If he lives up to the
I mean, I guess some
potential.
people would say Deuce Knight maybe, but
I mean, Jackson Arnold would probably be in the conversation. He could.
I'm still going to go Cam Coleman. I'm still going to go Cam Coleman. But yeah,
I mean, Keldrick Faulk.
Yeah, that's
Keldrick Faulk.
We might be talking about him with a little mock draft here in a little bit as well. Let's see. All right, Matt chimes in. He says, not a single defender, Andre Bruce, Takeo, or Carlos Dansby. Okay, see, and that was the thing, was wanting to throw somebody in there, but I mean, you got to go with the 3 Heisman winners.
Oh, yeah.
And then for me personally, when I think of Auburn, like football growing up, the first person I think of is Cadillac. So that's why I went the way that I went there. Jason chimes in. He says, is Terry Beasley worthy? How about Tracy Rocker? Okay, see, there you go. And again, there's no wrong answer in this. Now, if you put Peyton Thorne on here, obviously that's a wrong answer. But like, there's really not a lot of right and wrong answers. It's just
right.
Who, in your opinion,
exactly,
did you think was the best? Did you enjoy watching the most? Is the most nostalgic for you? It can be whatever, whatever metric you want to decide this. All right, Buster Latta, he chimes in. He says Cam, Bo, Pat Sullivan, and Tucker Fredrickson. That's his 4. Let's see. We have somebody else that says Bo, Pat Sullivan, Cam, Takeo, Spikes. But he adds Stan White did have an undefeated season, though, in terms of who would be the 3rd best quarterback, I guess, in Auburn history.
That is true.
So that's a good one there. Man, all right, y'all keep these rolling in. We've got so many of your Mount Rushmores coming in for Auburn. Again, if you're just joining us, who is on your Mount Rushmore of Auburn football players all time, the 4 greatest, in your opinion, whatever way you want to decide this, it's your list. No answers are right. No answers are wrong. It's just your list. 205-834-9450. We'll get more of your reaction on Auburn Mount Rushmore when we return here on Morning JOX. 6:37. Welcome in Tuesday morning edition of Morning JOX here on JOX 94.5. Conrad and Damian here with you, going through our Auburn football Mount Rushmores. Who do we think the 4 best players or most iconic players, maybe your 4 favorite, however you want to look at it, whatever your perspective is, your Mount Rushmore of Auburn football players. We gave ours, and now we are continuing to get your reaction. Appreciate all of you chiming in. There are truly so many of you texting in. We're going to try to get to all of them before the end of the show, and we're going to do the best that we can. But quickly, before we get back to that conversation, a little bit of college football news that came out last night. If you missed it, it looks like both Deuce Knight and Keelan Russell are going to need to pan out for Auburn and Alabama because they missed out on their 2026 guy potentially. And Jared Curtis, who was the #1 quarterback recruit in the upcoming 2026 recruiting class, he had narrowed his choices down to Oregon and Georgia yesterday, and he was going to make his commitment, and he did, and he has picked the Georgia Bulldogs. So the #1 quarterback in the 2026 class, Jared Curtis, will be joining the Georgia Bulldogs, and in a situation where after, we assume it's going to be Gunnar Stockton this year, but what does the future hold for that position at Georgia? But they certainly have a blue chip prospect now at that position in his high school career. 7,600 passing yards, 130 total touchdowns in 3 seasons there for Nashville Christian School up in Tennessee. And again, he is the #1 quarterback recruit in the upcoming cycle. He picked Georgia over Oregon, Alabama, Auburn, and North Carolina. So good job for Kirby. He gets potentially the quarterback of the future there. And Auburn and Alabama, not that I think they knew that they were out of the running, but somebody that they were in the mix for at least early in the process. So that's your college football news. But now we'll go back to the text line 205-834-9450 as y'all continue to chime in with your Mount Rushmore of Auburn football. Somebody says Zach Calzada. Haha, I'm kidding. But seriously, what about Chris Davis for having the most exciting play in college football history?
Hey, if that one play solidified that he's on your Mount Rushmore, hey, that's the thing. It's all up to you.
Yep.
We're just reacting to it. I don't have a problem with it. I think that, I still hold to this day that if Chris Davis wasn't, 5'11", if he was 6'2", instead of being 5'11", he bats that ball away from Kelvin Benjamin, and Auburn wins the national championship in year 1 of Gus Malzahn. I'll stand by that. Like, I couldn't fathom. One, I wasn't really a big Kelvin Benjamin guy anyway, just because, he was a tight end that just so happened to play wide receiver. And had he not been a big body, Chris Davis was in phase. He played it exactly how you're supposed to. He just wasn't tall enough. But yeah, that one play, if that solidified him being your Mount Rushmore, that's cool with me.
Yeah, no, again, it is your list. If that's how you determine it, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But we have, somebody else chiming in. They say, what if you're talking about just quarterbacks, Reggie Slack has to be included on the list as well. That was kind of a side conversation we were having about who would be after Pat Sullivan and Cam being the Heisman winning quarterbacks, who would be next on that list. A lot of people would probably say Jason Campbell. We've had some Sean Whites as well. Now Reggie Slack being
Brandon Cox, he's undefeated against Alabama.
There you go.
4-0, baby.
There you go. We have somebody else that just is texting in ... Tracy Rocker. So apparently they're disappointed that more people haven't thrown him out there. We have somebody who says Cam Newton, Bo Jackson, Pat Sullivan, and Philip Lutzenkirchen.
Okay.
It's another good one. He was an excellent player.
1,000%.
Somebody says Don Don's on my Mount Rushmore. That you probably just made his day. I hope you heard that, Don Don. That probably made your day. Let's see. Somebody, Gavin, he chimes in. He says Bo Jackson, Cam Newton, Ricardo Lewis, and Chris Davis. And then he adds, I'm totally trolling. I hate Auburn, actually. Well, 2 of them.
Yeah.
I get it.
Listen.
You want to have Chris Davis on there? There's no problem.
Again, 2 of the most exciting plays of college football. But if you ever do a deep dive into Ricardo Lewis's career at Auburn, I think he would, outside of that one play, he kind of left a lot to be desired. Great athlete, though. Great athlete. He was fast as hell.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see. All right. Cody says Chris Davis for the kick 6, Ricardo Lewis for the prayer and Jordan Hare, Bo Jackson and Cam Newton.
Okay.
So 2 of the greatest players in the history of your football program.
And 2 of the greatest plays.
And 2 of the
listen, we don't make the rules. We're just
No, we don't make the rules. We certainly do not. We certainly do not. I I guess my thing with those, and again, I understand the magnitudes of those plays. If Auburn wins the national championship that year, I think a lot of people maybe have them in that conversation.
right.
And I think for some people, that's what holds them back is, I mean,
Like Trey Mason was on the field with those guys as well.
incredible moments,
Mhm.
incredible plays, but it didn't ultimately get you to the ultimate goal that you wanted to. I mean, it was still a fantastic season. Somebody else they say Bo, Cam, Pat Sullivan, and Cody Burns. Okay. We throw in Cody Burns. Let's see. Bo in Haleyville says Cole Kublik, Rob Bramlett, and who cares who else? Roll Tide.
There we go.
Let's see. Somebody says, what about Carry On? Did y'all forget about him? Carry On? Okay. I mean,
had Gus Malzahn not beat up his body the last 4 weeks of the season,
yeah,
like sweet Jesus.
Again, Carry On's in that next level to me of very good, but I can't put him above Bo and Cadillac, and I probably wouldn't have him above Trey Mason.
No, but he's not far. Like
no,
yeah, he's top 10 running backs of all time at Auburn.
Yeah, and you can maybe convince, maybe talk me into like number 5 or number 6, something like that. Which, I mean, again, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, no disrespect in any means. There's a lot of good players that have come through Auburn and its history. All right, somebody says, are we just going to exclude Joe Cribbs and Lionel James? That's Mad Dog who chimes in there. No, you're more than welcome. Throw out whoever you want. All right, Jerry Barnett says the Three Stooges and Peyton Thorne. Okay, well, there we go. Alabama fans, what are you going to do with them? I can't imagine being an Alabama fan. It sounds awful.
Me too.
Let's see. Somebody says, what about Lutz and Kirkin? Yep, we had somebody else throw him out there a little bit earlier. Somebody says TJ Finley, Peyton Thorne, Jeremy Johnson, and Towns Magoo would be
my gosh. Get out of here. Get out of here.
That's funny. No, he sends in a serious one, though, and it is Cam Newton, Bo Jackson, Nick Fairley, and that's so. Sorry.
Is that the one that Daniel Carson?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Respect.
Mm-hmm. Respect. Let's see. Someone says, where's Pat Dye? If we're not talking about just football players, Pat Dye would be on the list. Absolutely. No doubt about that. I was strictly looking at players.
Right.
But if you want to have a coach on there, absolutely. No doubt that Pat Dye would. I think if you had the 3 Heisman winners and Pat Dye on there, that's about as good of an Auburn Mount Rushmore as you could have. If you go outside of guys that played on the field, that's a good one. Let's see. We have, okay, this is a different one. Somebody chimes in. They say Quentin Groves, Chris Davis, Carlos Rogers, and Zeke Smith.
Okay.
A little different.
Yeah,
I like it. And then we have somebody, they say Stan White, Bo Jackson, Cam, and Pat Sullivan. And they also add Auburn baseball is up to number 8 in the D1 baseball rankings. Yes, they are.
Hey, War Eagle.
WDE to you. And we have, let's see. Somebody says their Mount Rushmore is just the guys in coverage on the Gravedigger play a couple years ago.
Oh, my gosh. Leave those boys alone, man.
Touche. I see you.
James. I
see you there on that one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a rough one for them. All right, we'll keep them coming in. We've got so many. Gosh, I'm just blown away. Y'all continue to send these in. I mean, we must have had at least 50 or 60 Mount Rushmores this morning. This is insane. So yes, keep sending them in 205-834-9450. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to keep rolling here. We're going to keep getting your Mount Rushmores, reacting to them. So keep sending them in and keep it locked here on the Tuesday morning edition of Morning JOX.
6:50 here on Morning JOX. JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell alongside Conrad Van Order. Here with you for a few more moments as we pass you off to McElroy and Kublik in the morning. We're talking about the best Auburn football players on Mount Rushmore. Let me tell you what's best for you in the bedroom. That's our friends at Blue Chew. Blue Chew is an online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Staxin in chewable form and at a fraction of the cost. Listen, Blue Chew's tablets are a performance enhancement for the bedroom. It can help men gain extra confidence when it's time to perform. Like I said, it's an online prescription service, so you don't have to worry about going to the doctor, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy because it ships right to your door. Let Blue Chew's licensed medical providers provide you with the right ingredient and strength for your prescription, and I can hook you up with a free offer. Go to BlueChew.com and get your first month free when you use your promo code JOX at checkout. That's $5 shipping. You go to BlueChew.com, promo code JOX to receive your first month free. And remember, your boy DM6 tells you all the time, just chew it and do it.
Getting back to your Auburn Mount Rushmores here on the text line as well as the phone line. So again, appreciate all of you sending these in this morning. We're going to get to as many as we can here in the last couple minutes, but let's go to the phone lines. And Melvin has been waiting on hold. Melvin, what is your Auburn Mount Rushmore?
Legitimately, I think the Bo, Pat Cam, and Tracy Rocker will probably be the right one, but I will have to give an honorable mention of Damian Craig. I know, has he been mentioned this morning?
I actually don't think anyone's mentioned Damian Craig. That's a good one.
Yeah, I mean that would probably be my honorable mention if I had to not put those four, and I think those are the four legitimate ones. So, but enjoy the show, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, Melvin. I appreciate your Mount Rushmore of Auburn players. All right, we have somebody chiming in. They say they're an Alabama fan, but they have their Mount Rushmore of Auburn defensive backs. So they just did DBs, and they have Carlos Rogers, Junior Rosegreen, Antonio Nolan, and David Irons.
Junior Rosegreen, he put Muhammad Massaquoi before there was targeting. He put him in the body bag category.
Yes,
man, that hit right. Whoo, vicious.
Let's see. Casey, he chimes in. He says, what y'all said about Chris Davis and the kick six, I totally get it. I felt the same way about Isaiah Bond after the Gravedigger play, and then he transferred to Texas. NIL is going to affect things like this and the legacy that players leave on a school and Mount Rushmore's. How do y'all feel about that? 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
You don't even speak of that guy that transferred to Texas.
I don't even know who he's talking about, quite frankly. But if I were to know who he was talking about, I brought this up, I think, after the NFL draft where, for a guy like Isaiah Bond, you left being a legacy at Alabama, being involved in one of the most important plays in the history of that program to go get the bag at Texas. Now you're undrafted, and I understand there's some personal things going on in his life as well, but you're not coming back to Tuscaloosa, buddy. Like, no one's paying you to come back and sign autographs in Tuscaloosa or to come speak at events or do things like that. And, that's the kind of stuff these players got to think about when we're talking long term, and just what it means when you transfer out of a school and some of the things that you're giving up there. So I totally agree with what Casey texted in. Let's see. Someone else says Pat Sullivan, Bo Jackson, Cam Newton, Takeo Spikes. That's been a popular grouping here this morning. Let's see. Somebody says Brent Fullwood. They throw Brent Fullwood out there. Somebody said, talking about Rosegreen knocking out Reggie Brown. Somebody says, I remember lying on the floor crying because I thought he was actually dead.
Yeah. Reggie Brown, Muhammad Massaquoi. Sorry to put you in a body bag, Muhammad.
Yeah.
It was Reggie Brown.
It was Reggie Brown.
But either way.
It didn't go well for Reggie.
Yeah, right.
Wasn't good for Reggie. Let's see. Someone chimes in. They say Bo, Cam, Pat Sullivan, and Carlos Rogers. Okay, that's a good one. Let's see. Someone says, imagine having a program where you struggle to find a fourth player who's Hall of Fame worthy. There's four. Give them some credit. There's absolutely four. Let's see. Somebody says TJ Finley, Peyton Thorne, Gus Malzone, and whoever else.
Hey, Gus got him to the national championship.
He certainly did. Somebody says, mine are Cole Kublik, Rob Pate, Ronnie Williams, and Don Don.
Hey, WDE.
Somebody says, how about this? All right, basketball, Auburn, Mount Rushmore, Chuck, Oh, well, okay, sorry. Charles Barkley, Chuck Person, Janai Broom, Walker Kessler.
Oh yeah, that's fine with me.
Not bad. Not bad. A bunch of other people saying Tracy Rocker. Why no one's saying Ronnie Brown? Yeah, I was surprised we didn't get more Ronnie Browns in here, but we did get a lot of very good ones. Appreciate all of you chiming in. We'll continue the conversation tomorrow with Alabama. McElroy and Kublik in the morning is next.